Ahead and get started. And just to introduce myself here, my name is Christy Nichols, and I'm the owner of Venture Within. What we do is create transformational experiences for people who want to reconnect with themselves, experience deeper personal growth and fulfillment. And we just create time and space for people to connect with each other, to connect with themselves, and we do it in pretty life changing settings. Usually my retreats are overseas, and so we have 5 to 7 days to really like take time off and take the space we need to connect. And for this particular workshop, what this workshop is actually taken from one of the sessions that we do on my retreat. So I have the 5 to 7 day retreats. In addition to the overseas experiences, I do a coaching and mentoring program, and that's 12 weeks of one-to-one, just like this, signing into Zoom and then having a full-on session. But what we're doing today is a Map Out Your Life workshop, which is one of my favorite things to do, especially this time of year, being January, the start of the year, the start of the decade, and just really trying to tap into what it is we're doing here, what are we filling our day with, and why, and are we doing the things in our day-to-day lives to move us towards the life we want. Hi there, Tommy, you're the iPhone. Okay, welcome. I'm glad you can chat. All right, well, with that, let me just move into a little bit more about what this specific workshop is going to be about. There's three main points that we're going to cover in the next 45 minutes. The first is we're going to dive back into our past achievements and our strengths. I think it's super important before we try to navigate forward that we understand what we're equipped with, what our tools are, what areas of our life we are strongest at so that we can leverage them, but also to understand areas that we want to focus on for further improvement. We're also going to do a little bit of futuring where we're looking at the life we want to have for ourselves in the very near future. We'll get very specific about that. And finally, we'll get to the nitty gritty of today, and we'll look at things that are hindering our forward movement, what's sort of stopping us from taking this progression forward, and what can we do to actually lean into a life that's more meaningful and happy. So keep moving here. And anybody who has worked with me or traveled with me or engaged in these workshops before knows the type of client that I typically work with. And I typically work with people who are in transition, which is everybody. Everybody goes through transition at one stage in their life. But particularly this coaching and mentoring program, these workshops, these retreats, they're for people who are in a new role or a new job, and there's an adjustment there. Perhaps they've moved someplace new and have to rebuild a community around them. But people who are feeling maybe a little isolated or just need a few strategies to help them sail into this new role with ease and certainty. Also work with young professionals, people who are sort of fresh out of college and have skills and training, but not necessarily all the expertise that they will one day have. So how do I help those people gain clarity, gain confidence in what's possible for them, right? So like people who are looking to make sure that their path is going down the line of something that's meaningful and rewarding, and that they're not just 9 to 5ing it in a cubicle somewhere, but doing something they love and doing something well. I also work with people who are stuck. We all get burnt out sometimes. You kind of get bored with your current occupation, or you don't really gain any fulfillment from the role you find yourself in. And this I talk about professionals here, but this could also include people's relationships or their living situations. Maybe you want to change your city, or whatever it is your surrounding isn't serving you anymore. How do you position yourself into a place where you can skyrocket again? And also entrepreneurs. I've been an entrepreneur for, I guess, over 10 years now. This is my third business. And I am excited to see so many new entrepreneurs out there, young entrepreneurs out there working online, working remotely, or just people with a big idea and they're ready to take it forward or turn it into something that's profitable, impactful. And I love working with people to help support them, not just in the startups, segment, but there's this gap between when you first start a business and when you're like successful and profitable, and like it's kind of a deep, boring, scary lull in between. So I work with people who are sort of in the middle part there, and help overcome fears and learn a little bit of self-discipline and just stay on track. I help them remember why they started. Okay, so I think we're ready to dive into this workshop today. So just a reminder, you'll need something to write with. So if you have a notepad and pen, that's wonderful. If you want to set up your screen so that you can still see me and engage with the webinar, and also take notes on Word, that's fine. Any of the notes you take, you won't have to share out loud. You won't have to put them in the chat box. They're solely for your own private use. But it's definitely the best way for anybody to connect with what they're thinking and feeling, and kind of analyzing here is by writing it down. So if you're ready, it is, I'm not too sure what time it is for you, Tommy, or for anybody else here, but it's 5 o'clock here. So it's been a long day, and if it's been a long day for you, if you've had, you've come from work, or if you've had anything else happen in your day with other people, relationships, family, whatever you've had in your mind, we're going to let all that go and just focus on the next little bit here when you're thinking about yourself and your life and how you want to map it out. So we'll start by taking a breath. Take a deep one through your nose and slowly let it out your mouth. Anybody who does yoga out there knows that this is a great way to come to the present and to calm. Anybody who's not a yogi will feel that right now. So one more breath. And here we go. I want to start with reflection. So like I said, like it's important to look at the things that we're proud of ourselves for doing and our achievements, but it's also important to understand what we learned from them, right? So I want you to take a couple minutes here, and I'll do it too. And I want you to write down 2 to 3 things that you've done that you're really proud of. 2 or 3 accomplishments in your life. Could be getting a promotion, could be nurturing a relationship, could be getting out of a relationship, could be learning a new skill, completing a marathon. Think about something that you're like, yeah, I did that, and just like write it down and just feel how proud you are of yourself for that. Once you've thought of a couple things, I want you to then think about, what did you learn from them, right? So it's not all that we want to do is to pat ourselves on the back, but I want us to think about, what did we learn about ourselves from that accomplishment? So I'll share. Nobody here has to share, but I'll share one thing I wrote. One was, in the last year or so, my commitment to my workout trainings, my physical workout trainings. There was a time I never did weights. I never worked. I mean, I did yoga and exercise, but I never did like the heavy duty circuit training. In fact, I used to run away. I used to go to the gym and not really try. So this last year, I really made an effort to show up, to just give it 110%, even if I want to cry or throw up or get tired or whine, and I'm still able to do it. I'm really proud of myself because I can see the difference in how I feel and how I look. But I think one thing I learned from making myself go to workout routines that I've never really gone to before is that I'm stronger than I think. And that's a good feeling. Sometimes I feel like I can't actually do the workouts, and then I do it, swearing and sweating, but I do it. So, does anybody want to share any of their achievements? I'll give you a minute. And if you don't, it's okay too. So writing learnings. Okay, write your learnings. That's okay. There's so much to learn too. I think honestly, if I go with the whole gym membership, well, one, two, I learned that I needed a trainer. You know, any day I could just go for a run. I could do sit-ups on the ground by myself. You know, I can watch YouTube videos, but I learned that I go farther when I work with others. And so having a trainer like in my ear pushing me to go farther made me go farther. Working with an awesome group of people who are sweating it out right next to me, that encourages me to keep going. And then also just the social side of things. You know, I'm going to see the same awesome people every other day at 9. And so I've learned that I do better um, when I have like a driver and when I have a community. So I'm strong, I have a driver, and I have a community. Okay, I'm just going to move on to the next bit too. And so, but if I don't give you enough time in this session to actually flesh out your points here, that's fine. This is for you to like take home and like really apply to yourselves in your days later. And you'll be thinking about this after the workshop anyway. So this is 100% for you to mull over. But now we're going to zip right past the present and go to the future. And I want you to like think about your future in great specificity and detail, right? So 1 year from now, what do you look like? What does your life look like? Where are you living? Are you living in the States? Are you living in New Zealand? Are you in Nicaragua? You know, what's your living situation? Do you own property? Are you renting? Are you in a relationship? Are you out of a relationship? Do you have a child? Be very detailed as to where you see yourself living January 22nd, 2021. Think about your job. What is it that you want to be doing? And more importantly, and this is a very important one for you to write down, what is it you want to be feeling? Do you want to feel successful? Do you want to feel comfortable? Do you want to feel excited? Do you want to feel solid? Do you need to feel more grounded? Perhaps you need to feel like you're ready to fly. What do you want to be feeling in a year? And what do you want the things in your life to look like to help you feel that way? Just give you a few minutes here to be thinking about all those details. What items do you fill your space with? Do you have a new car? Have you traveled somewhere? Have you taken a big trip? You landed your dream job? And this is something that could take a while too. So I want you to like write down a few notes now. But I also want you to come back to this and flesh this out a little bit more if that's if you want, like the more specific you make your future, that the more able you're going to be to manifest it. But now I want you to kind of zoom back a little bit and think about where you need to be in 3 months time for you to hit that 1 year goal. And that's the way life works. We have these goals, but then we have our routines that we stick through, and we don't always like integrate our day to day with the things we need to progress us towards where we want to be in 1 year. So these are like marking posts, the 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. And if you kind of chop up your goals into like bite-sized achievements, bite-sized goals, then you'll be able to see your 1 year goal much more clearly. So in 3 months, I want you to think about where should you be to make sure you're on the right track. Are you seeking fortune, fame as a songwriter? That means maybe you should start singing at open mics and writing your own music. So by month 3, maybe you will have written 3 songs and performed at 3 open mics, right? That's part of the steps in your process forward. Maybe if you want to travel within the year to a new country, in 3 months, you've researched places you want to go to and created a budget for yourself. Um, Maybe you want to have a new job, so you've started to refresh your resume. What is it that you need to do that's going to be the first few steps forward into that year? And I want you to write it down. Something specific that you know you should look back on. And when 3 months comes, you look at yourself and say, yep, I'm doing it. And anytime we're on this chat, feel free to jump in and share in the chat box at any time. Okay. So what we've done so far is we've talked about our past achievements, and we've looked at the things that have made us proud of ourselves and noticed the strengths and the learning points that came with those achievements. And we have looked in the future what we want to be doing next. What is our next big goal? What's the next big thing that we're going to pat ourselves on the back for, that we're going to be very proud of ourselves for? And we've kind of looked at, a little bit less of the next 3 month goal. We've taken a look at that and written that down. But now let's start today, right? So I want you to focus on the now, and I want you to think about what a meaningful life looks like to you, right? So you've got your goals you want to achieve, but what are the bare essentials of things that make you happy? And you can be as abstract in this as you want to be. A meaningful life looks very different to a high powered lawyer in New York than it might a farmer in Kansas, right? So, what does a meaningful life look like to you? Does it mean being in a loving relationship? Does it mean absolutely loving your work? Does it mean that you have freedom, financial freedom? Maybe you have time. Maybe that's a meaningful life. Maybe you have time to spend with your family. What is it that is meaningful? And you can just dot point these. My meaningful life involves a healthy lifestyle, um, beautiful friends from the inside, on the outside too, but friends of mine that are supportive and strong, and just having a solid community around me. Um, the ability to travel, that's meaningful. I want to be able to experience new places and meet new people. I grow that way. These are all the things in my life that make it full for me. Health, family, friends, the ability to travel, freedom, love. All of these things are meaningful to me. And then also think now, like, what do you want to achieve? So it could be that you want to achieve the ability to be more specific, the ability to be more direct in your actions. Maybe you want to learn to be more self-disciplined. What do you want to achieve? Write that down. So we've spent a little bit of time kind of looking at what you want and what you want to achieve. But whenever we have these goals, there's always seems to be something standing in our way, right? So I hate to say it, but often we are the thing standing in our way. I understand exactly what that's like. And the things that are standing in our way come in the form of excuses. I'm going to use the example. I live in a surf beach in Nicaragua, and I'm probably one of a handful of people here who doesn't really surf, and I don't surf because I'm scared. Um, so if I wanted to achieve surfing in the next 3 months as part of my health regime, I want to get more comfortable in the water, and I want to be able to stand up on the board and go surfing. What's standing in my way? Myself. I have a surfboard. There's the ocean. Everybody around me is a surfer. Do I surf? No. Why? Because it's windy, it's cold, I'm busy, the waves are big, my friends aren't, my friend I want to surf with isn't here, and these are all excuses that could be written away easily, but I create them and I stop myself from getting better at surfing by telling myself these things. So I want you to highlight that for yourself too. Like, what is it you want and what is it that's stopping you from getting there? Maybe it's money. Maybe it's education. Maybe you don't have the degrees you need to get the job you want. Maybe it's a person. Maybe you're associating with people who hold you back. And if these problems are all identifiable, like if you can look at all the things that are stopping you from being where you want to be, I want you to next think about what have you done so far to solve this. So for surfing, I don't know, I bought a surfboard so that I can go in the water, but to have solved my problems, I need to just um, go. Really, I don't need to find friends to take me. They're here. Um, so what have I done so far to solve the problem? I've actually joined a few surf trips in the last few weeks, so that's good. I'm gonna go try this Saturday. I've made plans. So that's one way I've done to try to solve this problem. I've actually put it on my calendar on Saturday to go. Let's see. But think about what you've done to solve the problem. And now the next thing I want you to do, what are you doing to not achieve this goal? This is where the excuses come in. What are you doing to stop yourself? So there's one thing about having a goal and seeing the things that are in your way, and then you can just see all the things that you should do. But then sometimes we do things on purpose to sabotage our own success, right? Sometimes we are our own worst enemy, and we do things so that it's going to make it harder for us to move forward. I don't know why we do this as a human being, but we find ways to halt our progress. Maybe it's fear of success, or maybe the fear of progress is a big issue too. But what are you doing to actually not achieve it? How are you stopping yourself? You want a dream job, you can't get it because you're not educated. What are you doing to not achieve? Well, you're not up leveling yourself. Have you taken a course to give yourself the skills you need? Have you uh, signed up to get another, enrolled in college, or applied to different companies that can give you a leg up? Like what are all these things in your reach and you're not doing them? What are you doing to not achieve this goal? Netflix. So you should have written out Netflix. Yeah, napping. Yeah, honestly, I have a hammock over there. It's a trap. I try to bring my computer to the hammock. The hammock wins usually. But now we've got like our list of like our goals for the future, what we want to achieve right now. We have our barriers to that, and we've identified what we're not doing and what we are doing to get around those barriers. So what I want you to think about is, what do you need most right now? What do you need? Do you need a pep talk? Do you need a loan? Do you need, I don't know if you guys heard those monkeys, but there's monkeys outside. Do you need a support network? I've joined so many professional, well, not so many, but I've joined 3 incredible professional networks, and they just feed me all kinds of resources and support that I need. What do you need? Write down what you need. And how are you guys doing out there? Are you writing furiously or waiting? Hand cramps. So much writing. I know. Sorry, I used to teach writing in English, so that's where it comes from. And you have homework too, so good, good. And Mr. iPhone, Tommy, how are you doing there? Let's see. It might be tricky for him to move from the iPhone to the chat box. You're alive. That's good. That's what I want to hear from my participants. Anyway, okay, so now we've gotten all this hand cramping writing. I want us to start mapping it out. Okay, so I never, ever, ever want to run a workshop or run the online coaching and mentoring program or any retreat and for people to leave with, a good memory or just not really have something to take with them. And that same thing is true for this webinar. I want you to have taken something from this, in addition to your hand cramps, and be able to plug something that you've learned from this workshop into your daily life. So we're going to be mapping it out. I want you to write down one of your goals, and I want you to choose any of these areas here: career, health, relationships, life motivation, time and space, as in creating time and space for yourself, travel. Think about one of these areas that you know you can focus on for improvement. I usually have about 10 or 15 things I want to improve, and then I overwhelm myself. So sometimes it's better just to isolate, like this month, I'm going to get better at this, and just do it. And then you'll see that goal begin to grow, begin to bloom. You'll begin to see the results. So once you've written down your goal for the next 3 months, career, health, travel, relationships, time and space, I want you to think about how you feel. How do you feel about reaching those goals? Are they like, yep, got it in the bag, this is easy, I can do this? Or are you like, I don't know if I can get that job. I don't know if I can find this kind of person to date. I don't know if I can get out of this relationship. I don't know if I can, you know, plan something. Don't worry about your I don't knows, but write them down. Like come into contact with how you feel. So it's important to understand your limiting beliefs so that you can overpower them, right? So what are your limiting beliefs about what do you tell yourself that makes you feel like you can't reach those goals? You can do anything you want. You can reach any goal if you do whatever it takes. So the reason we're writing down the limiting beliefs or those goals is so we can dismiss them. Write them down on a piece of paper, light them on fire. So we've gone forward into the future a year, the future 3 months, but your homework, and unless you message me, I'm probably not going to follow up to see if you did this or not. So this is completely up to you. I want you to think of one thing that you can do that's different in the next week to make you happier, right? So what are you going to do? And happier in terms of reaching your goal. You just wrote down a goal that is in your career, vicinity of travel or relationship, or whatever your goal was. What one thing can you do next week to start to edge you towards there? Is it tidying up your resume? Is it planning to have a lunch date with somebody you've lost contact with? Calling somebody on the phone that you haven't heard from in a while? If you've always wanted to garden, I always want to garden on my porch. Do I have one? No. In fact, I have less plants now because I failed to water the 3 I do have. So, but one thing I could do next week is to actually tend to my garden. I could buy plants. I could move, I could do something purposeful that'll start to add joy to my life in this way, right? So think about one thing that you can do. It's within reach. It's in a week, 7 days. What is that going to be? And I want you to calendar it. So many times people attend workshops like these or seminars, or they take a coaching course and you take a lot of notes and you nod and you smile and you feel really good about everything that you talked about, but then you walk out the door and nothing happens. And I hate that. I want for people to wake up early and run. Yeah, that's a great one. That's a great one. I don't do that one. I don't want to, so I applaud you for waking up early and running. But I want you to put this on your calendar. Tuesday, I'm going to wake up and run. Sunday, I'm going to see what kind of plants I could actually think about putting on my porch. Monday, I'm going to call and see who's around for lunch and try to make a lunch date with somebody I haven't talked. What is it that you can do? Put it on your calendar and research conferences you attend for. Yeah, that's good. And give yourself a good hour or so for that, at least. Go to San Francisco. But yeah, and email yourself a reminder, like I do all the time. I have a good conversation with somebody, I email myself. And then also I want you to reach out to somebody who's going to hold you accountable, right? It's really easy for us to let ourselves off the hook or to say, whatever I didn't do. Nope. You need a good friend who you're going to tell, yo, please, in a week from now, make sure I've had this lunch date. I spent an hour researching conferences. I ran at least 2 kilometers or miles, or you know, like make sure that you tell somebody. And then often when you tell somebody or you say what you want out loud, it becomes true, right? It becomes like something like, oh crap, you know, it's out there, so you have to do it. Okay. Before I jump into this, does anybody have any questions about what I'm talking about as far as like how intentional you have to be with your day-to-day actions and very specific you have to be with your actions if you want to start moving forward to that 3-month mark and that 1-year mark and overall like mapping out a life that really fulfills you? You can just chat, like type in the chat box that you're all good, or type in any. Right, all good. Okay, great. Okay. Just gonna do a little spiel here about the coaching and mentoring program. So, like I said, this workshop was taken directly from that, and the coaching and mentoring program is taken directly from my retreats. And the reason I do that is because people who want to go on a retreat, I mean, it's a big expense in time and money sometimes, and so for people who just want to do the change, but they don't have the means or the time to go away, I've just made these so that they're the one-on-one versions that we can just work through for 12 weeks. And we go through each session like this. It's private, it's personal, it's completely tailored to your life. And every week you get like new skills and takeaways. So I just wanted to like explain a little bit more about that. And while I've got like the pricing on my website, but anybody who's attended this webinar, they get a massive discount just because you're here. And I always love working with people that I'm familiar with, you know, and that I really like get excited about working with and helping and seeing them succeed too. So just gonna throw that token in there for you guys. That is special just for this group. And just a couple testimonials up there. That's, to be honest, like just the nature of this job is that my clients end up becoming friends with me, right? And so, and I love that. I love that there's like a personal relationship that develops out of a professional one. And so these are like lovely messages that I get after I've worked with these people, after they've already kind of gone through this transformation of being like, I don't know what I'm doing in my life, to taking the steps and feeling the confidence and understanding how to communicate what they want and how to prioritize their life in a way that serves them. And then they come out the other side and I get lovely messages like this. This makes me happy. Okay, so we have a few questions and well, Q&A time. If you don't have any questions to ask, that's okay. And you can ask any questions about the workshops. You can ask any questions about the program, the coaching and mentoring program. If you want to know more about the retreats, it is an open forum. So I'm here if anybody has any questions. Anybody up there? If not, I'll just wait for you guys to pop a question in the chat box. What I'll do after this is I'll send you a replay of this video, should you want it. And then also if you took something from this workshop that you found valuable and you think other people would find it valuable, then please feel free to share your experience online. I'm looking to sort of amplify my voice here, and I definitely want to connect with people who are looking for this kind of thing. So I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you know, all the socials. So just hit me up. Oh, who had a question? Is it possible to see the questions again? Oh yeah, for sure. I'll send you the video, and you know, I'll send you the slideshow too, in case the video is just my face. You can get all of these questions and work through them again. Yeah, fantastic. Tommy, thanks so much for joining. All right, you guys have a great evening. I'll look forward to hearing from you guys a little later on. Bye.